Hello, everyone. Welcome to another weekend workshop. It sure is great to have you with us here today. I'm Carrie Ramsey, and I am the project manager for the Weekend Project, which is led by Queen's University. It's wonderful to have you gathering in this virtual space with us today to learn from one of our weekend clients who many of you have probably met before, Jennifer O'Neill. And Jennifer, of course, is the owner and founder of Giving Space, which she's going to tell us a little bit about today along with this very exciting topic. And it's funny, as I was thinking about today's session, which I get so much out of these, I was thinking, you know what? Being a woman entrepreneur is an adventure. It's like seems to be an adventure, but sometimes, just coupling that mindset with what we do is really important as well, depending on our own background. So I'm excited to get into this in just a moment. Jennifer is actually going to do the land acknowledgement today, so we'll get started in a moment. But I just wanted to acknowledge that yesterday was Women's Entrepreneurship Day. And I don't know if everyone realized that. It was funny, it was about halfway through the day when I think I became aware of that. So Women's Entrepreneurship Day is a global movement empowering women, which works year-round to drive women's economic independence, sparking leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs to fuel growth, shape policies, which is so important, and uplift communities. Because, of course, when women thrive, families, communities, and entire nations flourish. And so I think that was, I ended up mentioning it to a few folks yesterday, halfway through the day, but I thought that today I would also acknowledge that we had Women's Entrepreneurship Day yesterday. And so I put it on my calendar for next year to make sure that I give it a little bit more recognition. But I hope that you had a wonderful Women's Entrepreneurship Day. So Jennifer, I would love to hand you the virtual microphone. Thank you so much for being here today and for offering to share this insight with us. I cannot wait. As I said, you are, I know, going to do the land acknowledgement as well. So the virtual floor is yours. Thanks so much for joining us.
Great, and thanks, Carrie, for that intro. And I wasn't aware of yesterday's major milestone day, so thank you for sharing that. I'd like to acknowledge that I'm offering this presentation from where I reside, where I play, and offer my business, which is on the ancestral territories of the Huron, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee, and I apologize if I mispronounced any of those. As someone who is happiest in nature and who loves to be outdoors, taking in the beautiful vistas of our landscape and finding adventure in hiking, biking, paddling, and snowshoeing, I'm immensely grateful for the many forests and freshwater lakes that can be found here. The unique beauty and weather elements that we experience in each of our 4 seasons. The people and positive energy that comes from our precious natural spaces. And the connections between the nourishing gifts of these lands and our well-being. Are the slides advancing on your end? Oh,
Sorry, no, it's not yet, but if you click on the screen, sometimes it helps. Or the space bar. I know it was working a few minutes ago when we tried.
I know. I apologize for that. Thank you, everyone. All right, so that was supposed to be the screen for my land acknowledgement. All right, so it's wonderful to see some familiar faces on the call, as well as some new ones, and I want to thank everybody for taking the time to attend this session today. It's going to be a very interactive session, and to help us settle into sharing our environment, I thought it might be helpful to get to know each other a little bit, starting with me, followed by some quick questions for you. As Carrie stated, I'm Jennifer, and throughout my life journey to date, I've gathered gifts of a nursing degree, a master's of adult education, and ongoing training and expertise in the areas of quality improvement, transition and change management, project management, organizing and productivity, and formal leadership. In 2023, after almost 30 years in healthcare, I became a certified organizational coach, followed shortly after by receiving my Associate Certified Coach credential from the International Coaching Federation and establishing my business, Giving Space. This was a completely new path for me and one that became about after I gave myself space to reconnect with what was the most important to me. Having supported people with chronic conditions and having worked in healthcare through both the SARS and the COVID-19 pandemics, I'd always been aware of the preciousness of our health and wellness. But when I began to hit my own major age milestones and needed to support a loved one through cancer and then a stroke diagnosis, the fragility and time-limited realities of life was magnified. And it was at this point that I became very intentional in my perspective of and my approach to life. So while my academic and professional experiences position me well for navigating my new chosen path, what I believe to be the most important about my ability to live an extraordinary life adventure every day is my awareness and connection to the following. I'm a life adventurer, and I'm always in choice. My core values are integrity, respect, freedom, and kindness. What's most important to me is my family, health and wellness, a balanced and holistic lifestyle, and nature and the health of our planet. My most precious life resources are my time, my physical and mental health and energy and well-being, and access to nature. My happy places are in nature and with people I love, basically anywhere that creates joy, peace, and inspiration. Activities that bring me joy and nourish my soul include any activities outdoors, sewing, and nature photography. My superpower is my adventure mindset, which includes joy, freedom, optimism, courage, and gratitude. When I'm functioning at from the perspective of my best life adventurer, my decisions and actions are intentional and grounded in my identity, my core values, what's most important to me, my relationship to my precious resources, and my adventure mindset. I share this aspect of myself because it is this level of self-awareness and intentional approach to living that I hope to bring to others through my coaching through Giving Space. For this first activity to get to know you guys, I was wondering if you could please just complete the poll. I think Carrie's going to put the link here in the
It
chat.
should
So,
it should appear on the screen. Do people see
yep,
that?
there I see it.
We'll just give people, I think there's a few seconds to do this poll. All right, and we'll go ahead and end the poll and share the results. So, Jennifer, do you see those?
I do, yeah. So we have some people who've never been coached. Not surprising, people who've been coached probably by Carrie through Weekend and then from outside. So, and we don't have any coaches in the room. So thank you for sharing that. The next activity is one where I'd like you to finish this sentence. I chose to spend my precious time and energy on attending today's session because. And you can put that in the chat if you feel comfortable. Maybe Carrie, if you can just let me know what pops up in chat.
Yep. Just give folks a couple of moments to
Hmm?
think about that and express. That doesn't have to be super long, but few words. Could even be one word. Okay, well, we'll start with Megan. Megan says, I feel aligned in adventure and even misadventure in all aspects of life, but less so in business. I'm here to learn and in this workshop. So she feels more aligned in life, less so in business. Penny says, I'll be retiring in the next couple of years. Woohoo! And looking for ways to include more adventure in my life. Jennifer says, curiosity. I am on the mission to think about the quality of life while aging. Erica says, I unintentionally started a life adventure this summer with a trip to visit my family in Austria and have seriously started writing a novel. I'm ready for more adventure.
Wow, thank you. That's a lot of great things. So, and a lot of different perspectives as to why you came today. So I want to thank you for choosing to actually spend your time today with me because I do believe that your time and your energy is precious. So thank you very, very much for that. I'd like to now give you a sense of what our time together is going to look like. So, my approach to coaching is non-directive, which means that my coaching's not about telling you what to do or how to do it. It's about helping you to surface the wisdom that already exists inside of you and answer questions of what is this wisdom? What does it mean to you? What is it that you want to change? And how do you go about making those changes in a sustainable way? Today will be no different. Today will not be about me telling you what to do or how to do it. And most importantly, it will not be about convincing you to interpret adventure the way that I do, nor convincing you how the concept of adventure applies to your life. That's for you to decide. Today, I will offer you the gift of space, space to pause, explore, and discover. Space to spark new perspectives and to support you in finding more awareness or clarity of what you might need to give some attention to in order to enhance the quality of your everyday and in the long term, the quality of your life as a whole, in business and beyond. The concept of adventure and life as your adventure will simply be used to help facilitate your exploration by pushing on and exploring outside the walls of our usual thinking boxes. Unlike informal coaching session, I will at times also provide information from the perspective of my experiences, simply as examples to help you find more clarity from some of the activities if needed, and as an offering for some nuggets of wisdom from the lens of someone else's journey. I've embedded some of these gems in plain sight, while others may be more shy, hidden in the background of why I've asked certain questions or added certain activities in. But I don't want you to get caught up in looking for those because gifts can be anything. They can come from anywhere and they will be different for each person. What I think of as a gift may not resonate for you. Instead, you might find gifts in something some other participant says, feelings or insight that bubble to the surface for you, or a connection that you make via chat. There may be gifts that show up during the session as well as some that show up for you afterwards. So with that, I leave it with you to decide what you see as gifts being offered and if and how you want to accept them. So our objectives for today are to reawaken your adventurer within, to gain some clarity on your vision of an extraordinary life adventure and what's truly important to you and your precious life resources. Spark new ideas about what you need from yourself to make your vision of an extraordinary life adventure a reality every day. So, to set you up for success, I invite you to take care of yourself. Do whatever you need to make the most of our time together, whether that's finding a distraction-free space, stand up, move around as needed, get your fidget tool, have food, have a beverage, whatever you need. And position yourself to participate in the activities of viewing images on the slides, virtually responding to poll questions, writing, and sharing your comments, responses, and questions verbally or via chat. I invite you to not only think of your participation from the lens of what's in it for you, but also what gifts you might offer to others through the sharing of your own questions and your insights. Today isn't about the wisdom of one, but the wisdom of the group. So let's get started. Before we talk about adventure, I'd like to ground us a little bit in just the concept of life and how we often seem to think about it and where we see our business fit in. Often, when we think of our life on Earth, we envision something that might look a little like this, a line that we travel along between birth and death. And while we know that there may be some ups and downs, we hope for more ups than downs, and we set ourselves goals that we at some point decided would equal a good life. This might include moments like graduating from college or university, getting the job of our dreams or starting the business of our dreams, buying a house, finding a life partner, starting a family, making a specific income, or owning specific items. As we get older, we add new moment goals, such as additional career success, becoming grandparents, retiring with a good pension or nest egg, or even traveling. And it's when we near the end that we reflect back and we determine if, based on the moments of achievement that we experienced, if our life earned a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Do these images resonate with any of you? I'm seeing some nods. Where do you see your business in these images? Does anybody want to share that?
Do you want to expand on that? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so are you seeing your business as one of the markers up top that is a high? Is it a low? Is it the whole road? So where are you seeing your business? And is it going well? Is it going not so well?
Hi, Jennifer. My name is also Jennifer. Lovely
Hey.
choice of name, isn't it?
Yeah.
I am literally just getting started. I'm hoping to start my business before the end of the year. I am a recreation therapist, and I'm looking at this and thinking, well, I have no clue. But I'm also looking at it and thinking, well, heck, if I don't pick the first option, what am I putting out there? You know what I mean? In the universe, that kind of thing. So somebody with no experience, it's a great like psychological thing. Like, oh my goodness, you know what I mean? What am I achieving and aspiring to be with this life goal I have?
That's great. And congratulations on just starting out. That's fantastic. And I have a family member who's a rec therapist, so I know that job well. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm excited to see where you land on this journey.
Megan in the Zoom chat says, I see my business as lifting off with hopes that it will be a high. Anastasia says, oh no, Janice says that it's weaved throughout her journey, highs and lows. She's been a business owner all her life and she's worn many hats. So I was thinking the same thing along those lines, since I'm also a business owner. Like, ask me at one point of the day and it might be I'm on a high, and by the end of the day it might be different. But like Jennifer mentioned, I think it's all you're setting us up for that mindset of, you know, ideally like that there will be more highs than lows.
Or I'm going to challenge us. What if we thought of life more like this? Where maybe rather than thinking of peaks and valleys or highs and low points in life, we saw these as places on our journey to celebrate, to practice gratitude, to find clarity, to uncover courage and motivation for switching gears, changing direction, or even blazing a new trail. And instead of the important markers on our journey being individual moments of achievement, they are the daily gifts to discover, put in our pockets, and carry with us as we continue to explore. And instead of thinking of life from the perspective as good or bad, thumbs up or thumbs down, what if we think of it from the lens of experiences, the breadth of feelings that we feel, the scope of knowledge and wisdom that we acquire, and the quality of the relationships that we build? What could be different if this is how we thought of life? Just a thought. Now I'd like to broaden our thinking. Let's introduce the concept of adventure. I'd like to start by asking you to share the first word that pops into your mind when you think of adventure. Please put it in the chat. And Carrie, if you can let me know what's coming in, that would be great.
Yeah, sure will do. So Sarah says fun. We have curiosity, travel, exploration, opportunity, scary fun, unpredictable. My word was explore that came to mind. So those are a few words.
All right. And That's great. I was expecting some people to talk about things like scary, overwhelming, don't want to do it. Thanks, but no thanks. Don't want adventure. So it's exciting to hear that you're already starting with some positive ideas, and concepts and thoughts about adventure. When I think of adventure, I'm filled with memories and emotions from the perspective of my 10-year-old self. Images such as these come flooding to mind. As children, we find adventure in the activities that we do with our siblings or friends, when we go to camp, in the natural elements of puddles and snow, through the exploration and discovery of scavenger hunts, in dressing up and pretending to be someone else, like our favorite superhero. Adventure might have also been found in our play with our Lego or our stuffies. And then there's the grand adventures that come from our imaginations, through our own creativity, the books that we read, the movies we watch, and just daydreaming. I'll give you a moment to look at the pictures and find one that most strongly resonates with you as your 10-year-old self. Have you found your picture? I see nods. Okay. Now focus on that picture and, still thinking of adventure, consider these questions. Is there anything new or different coming forward for you about adventure? What emotions are showing up? And what's coming to mind about an adventurous mindset of your 10-year-old self? If there's anyone who'd like to share verbally, we'd love to hear it. If there's anything coming in through chat.
Yeah, Jennifer was just saying, and I had the same thought about, and she says it's ironic because when the line examples talked about achievements, but those didn't start till we were older. So Jennifer thought to herself, but my kindergarten graduation was so important and uplifting to me. My mind also kind of went back to my child self. When I hear adventure, same idea, like exploring and discovering, which we did as kids, right? But which we don't do as much now. And I wonder why part of it is probably nothing's quote unquote new anymore. We don't feel like there's anything left to discover, maybe. Anybody else want to go off mute? It might be easier to express. You can raise your hand. I can call on you if you'd like, if that's helpful, or you can go off mute.
I chose one that the first one that I was drawn to was one that looked more playful. And then I chose one that was a little bit more daring and exciting and unpredictable and freeing. I thought that was a really neat image. It was like, I'm scared, but I'm also excited. And I learned this thing when I started whitewater kayaking. It was called nervous-sighted, speaking of compound words, nervous and excited, that they can often feel the same as one another, and that it can almost be confusing sometimes. It's like, well, which one is it? And I think that we can feel excited and have this sense of uncertainty and unpredictability that comes in that sometimes co-opts us away from adventure, or at least in my experience has. And then there's this sort of other option of like leaning into the discomfort and how brilliantly that can lead to new results.
Wow, what great insight. So I'm going to ask you to take that little insight and put it in your back pocket for a minute. So take that with you.
I love this when Jennifer also said, I also won a coloring contest from a local pharmacy when I was younger. That was such a proud moment. And I also, when you say that, I remember winning a coloring contest too. And I literally still remember the picture and all that was attached to it. So funny.
Yeah. Great. So there's two key nuggets of wisdom that my adventurer within, which I think of as my 10-year-old self, has given me so far. First is that in adventure, the prize is not the destination. It's An adventure is a journey of wonder. It takes time and it gives you gifts all along the way. Playful is a word that we've heard a number of times coming through our conversation so far. And I would agree with that, that adventure is playful and fun. And it's meant to take you on a journey of discovery and exploration. In adventure, you need to have a vision and an openness to challenge and the unexpected. It also involves crossroads, decisions, and risks. It involves hope and anticipation for something wonderful just around the corner, just over the next crest. It involves energy bursts, but it also involves slowing down, having snack breaks, and resting. It requires knowing what's important and a need to keep going, even in the face of challenge. It requires courage, curiosity, and creativity. A lot of those words were words that some of you guys shared already when you gave your one word for adventure. The second nugget of wisdom that my adventurer within has given me is that, like adventure, life isn't about traveling a single path from start to finish. It's more like this, which we've talked about before, which really looks like an adventure map. There are gifts and joy to be found on all the side trails, all the switchbacks, all the loops, and all the changes in terrain. If you stay grounded in what's truly important and the reality that you are always in choice, regardless of what is happening or where you are along your path, you have the power to choose the gifts being offered every day and take action towards making the most of each day. Your life adventure is unique to you, and the quality of your life adventure is up to you and only you, and is decided on by you every day. What nugget of wisdom is your adventure within presenting to you at this point today? Does anybody want to share beyond something new that they maybe haven't shared already? Either in chat or verbally?
You want to restate the question and I'll just in case somebody was not missed it.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about your adventurer within, which might or might not be your 10-year-old self, what wisdom, what nugget of wisdom do they want to give you today?
Jennifer's talking about reshaping her thinking. Penny is saying not to be afraid. Janice is saying keep going. Erica says bring a friend. I wrote that down too, Erica. I was like, it's more fun on the journey when you've got a buddy with you. I also think it's safer sometimes. Megan says embrace the side adventures. Kyla says that it can be fun too, right? So that element. Sarah's saying stay curious.
Great. So again, we're seeing those threads coming in, but maybe they're stronger now, or maybe they're meaning something different. Okay, let's stick those little nuggets back in our pocket. So now that we've been grounded ourselves and opened our minds to the concept of adventure from the lens of adventure within, let's explore some more to uncover a bit more about what the extraordinary life might look like and feel like for you, what's truly important to you, and what you see as your precious life resources. For the next few activities, I'm going to show you some more pictures. I will give you a few seconds to choose the picture that is the best metaphor for whatever the topic is we're going to talk about. And then I'll ask you a number of questions for you to respond to on your own in writing. Don't overthink these. Just jot down naturally what jumps into your mind. Bullet points. Don't have to be big sentences or paragraphs. Just quick what's coming into your mind. And whatever feels more meaningful or natural for you. For some people, you might want to draw a picture. Go for it. Okay, so for these pictures, choose the picture that is the best metaphor for your current phase of your life adventure? When you've chosen your picture, you'll see three questions listed on the bottom of the screen. Take some time to jot down your thoughts related to to the picture you chose.
Do you want them just to put the number of the photo in the chat just for interest? Yeah, we're starting to do
Yeah,
that. So,
that would be
okay.
great.
Yeah. Jennifer's saying number 9. For me, it's number 7. So if you've chosen which picture relates to, maybe you just want to put the number in the Zoom chat. Just let us know. It also keeps you engaged. Erica's saying number 1. I was laughing at number 4. Sometimes I do feel like that. Penny is saying 9 and 12. Megan's saying number 11. Kristen's saying number 9.
Number 9 seems to be one that's popping up a bit more
Sarah
than
says
others.
Sarah says number 2. So in the waves, in the middle of the crashing waves, yeah. Lynn says number 9. Yeah.
Yeah, number
Janice
9.
says 6, 9, and 1. I embrace all the seasons, she says. Yeah. So a nice variety.
Yeah. Does anybody want to share verbally the number that they chose and the highlights of their responses to those questions?
Sure, I'll go. I chose 11 because I feel like I've been kind of underwater in my career for the last little while, and I've resurfaced and I'm surveying the landscape in front of me, sort of preparing to embark on the next sort of journey, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Great. I can even feel that imagery, the way you described it. Anybody else want to share? 9 was a popular number. I'm wondering if anybody who chose a 9 wanted to talk a bit about why and what came to mind for them.
Someone did make a comment, which was interesting in the Zoom chat about this, it being sort of a little valley. And so, but we'll let you go, Penny. I forget who it was that said that. I'll try to find that comment. It was a good one. Go ahead,
Um,
Penny.
yeah, my thought was sort of exploring a new place, sort of with retirement and also potentially moving to a whole new place to discover what's there, discovering the unknown.
I'm also interested, does anyone want to share of the image that they chose and what came to mind for them about that when they thought about their current phase? Is there anything about your current phase that you want to change in the more immediate?
I saw that. I think it was Jennifer who said she was number 9, but wanting to be a number 10. I think I'm sorry. Yeah, Jennifer said, I'm at number 9, but I'd like to be number 10. Um, yeah, I think that was,
I
but
can elaborate on
yeah,
that
go
a
ahead.
bit
Yeah.
more. Like when I say 9, like I really feel like I recently quit my full-time job a few months ago. Want to start my business by the end of the year. So it's been this down slope, right? My life has changed from what I thought it was going to be, and now like I'm starting this climb, right? But it's interesting for me that these pictures are next to each other because what I'm literally doing is I'm trying to create a hub of people that want to talk about positive views on aging, what quality of life is in that point. So it's almost like the fact they're together, I'm like, really, I am working to build this amazing community, of different perspectives.
Right. And what a perfect segue into our next slide. So these are going to look very similar because these are the same pictures. But this time, I want you to look at it and choose the picture for what you want your life adventure to look and feel like going forward. And again, there's questions at the bottom for you to think about and jot some answers down.
Okay, so I will start. Kyla's saying more of number 7 and number 10. Jennifer says, I'm going for number 8. I know that number 8 was appealing to me too. I was like, look at her on that lazy river. I think I could use that maybe next week. That would be lovely. Anyone else about which of those images they'd like to see themselves as? I noticed we're all picking summer pictures and not the number 6 winter picture. Penny says number 1, 8, and 10. Oh, Erica says between 6 and 7. Like it. Yeah. We have a winter lover. That's good. But you're right. Number 6 does look pretty easy. Megan says current number 11, as she says, she's spelled underwater. But I think number 10, I think is where she wants to be going or is moving in that direction. Christina is saying number 1 and number 8. Interesting.
So when you think about that picture, this is the going forward version of your life adventure. What is it, and what you wanted to change? What's jumping out at you in terms of this must be what's important to me if that's what I want in my life going forward? Or this is what I consider to be a precious life resource.
So are you saying consistency? Is that what you mean by that?
So it's just more of what is it that's jumping out? So I'll choose number 6, for
Okay.
example.
Yeah.
Maybe what I see in number 6, and maybe my first choice was number 2, but I'm
Mhm.
choosing number 6 is because it's important for me to have time for some just not having to work. I can have coast time. I need time to myself, time to regenerate.
Yeah. And Janice is saying consistency is why she's chosen her numbers. Anyone else with thoughts about that? Are you asking us like the values or the things that
Just what's
might be
important.
underlying it? Okay, yeah. Don't overthink it. I like you did say
Yeah.
that already. Kyla's saying I both need time for myself and playful connection. For me, I'm in number 7 right now, which I really love, but also number 8 is something I crave. Not all the time. I don't always be floating on the lazy river. Megan says she's identifying number 5 for the gear that she needs to move forward, and number 10 for the connections she needs to make and embrace. Penny is saying after 20 years of working at home, mostly on her own, she wants to spend more time with others, which is an enticing idea. Sarah's saying number 5, calm, fun, togetherness, connection. Erica likes number 6 and 7 because they both feel smooth, confident, energetic, and outdoorsy. They also represent working alone and working with peers. And Jennifer says number 8, I want to do something I enjoy and know in my heart and mind that I truly am contributing to supporting others.
Great. That's great. Okay, let's stick that back in our pocket. Our pocket's getting kind of full here. Good thing we might have backpacks to carry. All right. Now, as people, we may have a vision of our extraordinary life adventure as a whole, but as entrepreneurs and business owners, what about our everyday? Take a few minutes here to choose the picture that is the best metaphor for the perspective from which you approach or navigate your daily terrain. Also, you can think of that as your daily activities. So when you wake up in the morning, what is the perspective or the lens that you typically come forward into your day?
It's a good one. I love how the pictures are similar but different enough that it makes us think. This is good, Jennifer. Who has a thought on that? You can just put the number if you
Yeah.
want. Chantel says number 1 and 4. Erica says number 1. I also chose number 1. Megan says number 4. I've been thinking from bird's eye view. Janice says number 2. I like to take a broad look forward. Kyla says number 1 on my less mindful days. Number 2 on my task-oriented days. Penny says 1 and 2, and Lynn says 4.
Right. So now think, what is it about that approach that's serving you well?
Well, I'm in the group with number one, and I will say I get a lot done in a day because it's like one step in front of the other. But I think as someone else meant, I love that idea of that short term, like we have to lift our head also, right? So I think it was Kyla who mentioned that, which was a really interesting perspective. But yeah, anyone else want to answer that? Maybe reiterate the question in case oh, Janice says it keeps her grounded in the present moment and looking forward. So I think the question was, what is serving us by doing that? Yep, keeps us grounded. Christina says number two makes me aware of what is going on around me. That's good.
Now think about what is not serving you
Mm,
from approaching your day like this.
it's good. I'll just add a couple more comments to the first one. Penny says, number one, as many things on the go and not always organized. Megan says, the approach is serving her well because I have so much to do. I keep looking out and planning and then moving to image number one to execute. So those are things that are serving us. What doesn't work, though, is your question now about which image we chose. Very insightful question. What comes to mind is sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees, and it's kind of ironic here, but it's like sometimes you're just like looking at the step in front of you, you miss the whole picture. Jennifer says, number seven, where the heck am I in this forest of everything I want to do and need to get this business going? Erica says, what doesn't work is that it's hard to plan ahead when you're staring at your feet. Yeah. Christina says, number two, I get bogged down by what's around me and thinking I'm behind. Ooh, that compare and despair. Yes, I love that's insightful. Any other thoughts before we move on? We'll never walk through the woods again the same way, Jennifer.
And I'll maybe just add this little tidbit. These are actually pictures from a hike that I went on a month ago.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah,
Isn't Canada beautiful? That's amazing.
it is. Yeah.
Jennifer here again. I appreciate you saying that, Jennifer. It's so interesting from one hike, the different landscapes and terrains that we can go in because it was like, oh, these are collected from all over the world. But no, there's different seasons and stages and emotions. And, look back to that line graph for all the squiggles just within a hike and the
Yeah.
perspectives there. But it's how you choose to view the lens of your perspective.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon that when I go hiking, I hike often in one of our provincial parks, particularly in the fall. And often you'll see people looking down at the ground because they don't want to trip over the rocks or the roots or whatever, or they're taking pictures of just what's in front of them. And I will often say, stop, look up and take a picture of what you see up top because the colors of the foliage above, you miss that, which is where you get some of the most brilliant colors sometimes in the fall if you just keep looking down. Okay, so this is our last activity with pictures. Take a few seconds to choose the picture that is the best metaphor for your daily life. So this is different. This isn't about how do you wake up and decide to approach your day. This is about your daily life and what it looks like, what it feels like. So again, choose the picture that's the best metaphor for your daily life. Jot your number down in chat.
Okay, so we have some, Janice says number 13, Kyla says number 11, Christina says 4, Megan says number 11, I'm paddling along, generally having a good time, but it isn't easy. I think for me it was number 8. It reminded me of things are smooth on the surface, but then below your paddles just going like, a swan with their feet underneath or a duck their feet underneath the water. Erica's number 6, the white water of business, family, life, jungling, everything. Yes, seasons of life for sure. Anyone else with a comment on Best metaphor for their daily life, which is a good one. Kyla says number 11, I'm happy and enjoying it, but sometimes the paddling gets hard. But I have the equipment and feel prepared, so I just keep chugging along.
Uh, Carrie, I really just wanted to say I really liked your metaphor about number 8. I feel for me it's almost opposite. I feel like in my life I'm under the water, kind of struggling, not getting anywhere, paddling along. But if I sit back and I think about it, since I've left my job and I'm on to the next adventure, you know what I mean? I am calmer. I'm less stressed. You know what I mean? I'm optimistic. I don't know where the heck to go on my roadmap, but you know what I mean? I'm optimistic about what's coming. So I appreciate that metaphor.
I love it. And looking ahead, she's looking ahead. Penny says sometimes number 6, sometimes 13. Love it. Good answers.
All right. So as you look at that picture, just tell me what feeling, just name a feeling that pops in.
Janice says peacefulness. Erica says exhilaration. For me, my word would be focus. Let's see. Anyone else with a word that comes up when you look at that image? And I guess how it relates to your daily life as well. I'll keep monitoring, Jennifer, but you can go
Okay.
on.
So when you think of that feeling, now I want you to go back and think about the feelings that when you chose your picture of this is what I want my life adventure going forward to look and feel like. How does that feeling compare to the feeling you have for what your daily life looks like? Are they similar? Are they different?
Isla says, this has brought me more self-awareness. I'm still paddling in both and happy, content, but one seems more at ease than the other. Yeah.
I was thinking in a similar way. My picture originally felt like there was a lack of responsibility. Like it was sort of just my joy as opposed to the sense of being within the struggle of the challenges of carving out an adult existence. So I now feel a little deflated because I'd love to be able to connect with that child self, but I'm like, wow, okay, well, what does that look like?
That's that balance. How do we adult? Any other thoughts?
Erica is saying this photo is more about surviving and getting through the whitewater. My ideal photo is more about intentionality.
Oh, great. What else is calling out to people?
Any other thoughts here before we move on? Penny says, I'd rather that picture 5 was my first choice, closer to the idea of exploration and discovery.
So I'm seeing people shifting a little bit into this is the picture I chose, but this is where I'd like it to be. A little bit of that, my vision versus my reality. So in order for you to shift into that reality, what is it that you feel that you need to stop doing every day?
While people are mulling that over, I'll share mine. For me, and this is because I have moved pictures, and I think if I think back, it's I've stopped comparing myself to other people. My journey is not someone else's journey, so that has been absolutely freeing since I stopped doing that a number of years ago. Um, that was my own thought. Lynn says I will stop sacrificing my own boundaries. Ooh, so good. What other things, folks, are we going to stop in order to achieve that image of where we want to be? It's a good question. Violet says, stop focusing always on the task that's next up. Penny says, stop second guessing my ideas and interests. Erica says, stop overscheduling tasks and activities. Oof, good stuff. Jennifer says, I need to stop doing time worrying and start doing the actual doing and moving forward with tasks for goal completion. Janice says, I need to stop comparing and worrying about perfectionism. Good.
Okay. Let's shift now to the next one. What is it that you should continue to do?
Kyla says, continue embracing the adventure along the way and taking in the scenery. Nice. Jessica says, keep that optimistic mindset of where I want to be. Erica says, looking for opportunities for adventures, big and small. Lynn says, I will continue to reflect, write every morning as a priority. Janice says, I'll continue to learn and explore.
Great.
Penny says, continue to dream and look ahead, thinking about what's important to me. We don't give ourselves enough time to do that as women. Megan says, I will continue to get my heart racing. Life is not just about work. It's good.
All right.
Some good ones there.
And is there anything new that you want to start doing?
Besides coaching with Jennifer as our new adventure coach. So we've got Kyla says, start slowing down to enjoy the ride, finding adventure along the way instead of planning for it. Ooh, yeah. Those serendipitous moments. Lynn says, I will start doing daily walks and spend more time in nature. Ooh, I like that. Jennifer says, take leaps. What else do we need to start? Celebrate it in order to do more. Oh, oh, yes. It's another thing we don't do enough for sure.
I think your audio kicked out there, Carrie.
Anyone else?
Oh, I can't hear you, Carrie. Nope.
Yeah, sorry about that. Did you celebrate it in order to do more?
Nope, we didn't hear that one.
Can you hear me?
Now I can. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I put in the chat. It says my connection was unstable for a moment there. Go ahead.
All right. So, was one of those harder to answer than the other? Stop, continue, start new.
Megan says, yes, stop doing the thing that she's doing now. Lynn says, start was the hardest. Erica says, stop was the hard or is the hardest to think about, probably. Anyone else? I don't think continue is going to be hard.
Yeah.
Penny says starting, choosing which direction to go. Jessica says it's hard to stop what's been comfortable, even though it's not serving me, I realize. Janice says the stop. It's a limiting belief that gets us stuck. Jennifer says, but the continue can be scary, which is true.
So now what I'd like you to do is go to your back pocket and pull out the little nuggets that you've collected along our journey today. What is the one nugget that's really just shining the most for you that you want to take some time and admire a little bit more and figure out what to do with it in terms of how you move forward towards your life adventure going forward?
Maybe it was a note that you wrote down in your notebook. Maybe it was something you circled. If
Mhm.
you're not a note taker, maybe it's just something that you remember, something that was different that Jennifer said that was an aha moment.
Maybe it was one of those mindset pieces
Mm.
or an action.
Can you repeat the question again? I kind of got a
Yeah.
little buried
So
in
we,
it.
yeah, no, we collected nuggets along the way. I kept saying, put that back in your back pocket in terms of what is it that your 10-year-old self is saying to you? What is it that you're taking from these images? Is there any of those little nuggets that when you take them out again, one of them is just really jumping out at you and is saying, take me in your hand again, spend some more time thinking about me?
So Megan is saying leaning into adventure. Often the things that feel scary could be those side adventures where the most extraordinary things could happen. Trust the process and embrace the unknown. Jennifer says my aha moment is reframing the perspective of doodle number one to doodle path number two. Um, and she would like to do that, yeah, for older adults in conflict. Yeah, love it. Anyone else with a nugget that they want to share that they've taken so far from today? Erica says, leaning into discomfort, being a friend, nervous-eyed, nervous and excited. I've had some adventure and I want to do more.
Great. All right. So now give yourself a virtual high five because you've all finished the hard work for today. And now sit back and relax, and I'm going to give you a bit more information to put into context what we just did together. So today was just a dip of your toes in the water on a journey towards creating a new path for an extraordinary life adventure, particularly from the approach of every day as an entrepreneur and a business owner. To truly reset oneself on this path, there's a lot of exploration and discovery to be had through what I call side trails and lookouts. This slide is a very high-level depiction of those places to visit. And in the coaching that I do, we're very familiar with self-awareness from the concept of our values and so on. But my goal is to take you further in that. So yes, you may have core values, but what is your identity and how does that link to where you are on your journey or how you approach it? Going into some key definitions of some key terms that might be important for you. Looking at success factors. What are those things that really are important for you, and are motivators for you? And what is it that you need to have in place and maybe take some intentional time and energy of putting it in place, whether it's an environment, whether it's the people that you surround yourself with, whether it's strategies or processes that you use. All of those things that are going to set you up for success so that when you actually step back onto your path, your trail in life, whichever that is, or maybe you're even choosing a new one, you're doing it with intention and action on a daily basis. And at times we know that there are key points in our lives where we want to shift gears, where it might be I'm later in life and I want to think about, do I want to retire or do I want to do a victory lap? What does that look like? When I make that big shift, what does that, I'm afraid I might be bored. How do I make sure I'm not? What's my value? How do I make sure I feel valuable? Maybe it's a point in your career, or maybe it's that you've retired, but you're not settling into it very well. So there's a lot of different points along our journey where we might want to shift gears. Maybe it's not really a big change other than a pivot in our business. So there's different points. So this is why I established Giving Space, to help fellow adventurers navigate these lookouts and to give themselves space to explore and discover the gifts that these places have to offer. I've designed my services to align with each of these key areas of exploration. Depending on your goals and the current level of self-awareness, you can access these points at any place. Today, we touched on just little pieces of different parts of these particular areas. And it was just giving you a sample of what you might think about. So my final offering for you before we move into the Q&A is I offer you, go forward. I invite you to welcome into each new day the mindset of your adventurer within. Whether it's the playfulness, curiosity, or creativity of your 10-year-old self. The courage to believe that there is no right or wrong paths, only your path. The courage to follow your intuition, to shift gears and blaze your own trail when you don't feel aligned, and to say, watch me, when others say you can't. Or the hope and anticipation for something wonderful around the next bend, motivating you to keep moving forward, knowing that challenges are a normal part of any adventure, and overcoming challenges is what gives you the wisdom and confidence needed to make the most of the next leg of your extraordinary journey. And finally, while your daily adventure requires a lot of energy, remember to slow down and explore. Pause to nourish your soul and refuel. Manage your precious life resources. Enjoy and live in the view of the present, and imagine the amazing possibilities of where the next leg of your adventure can take you. So I'm hoping we're good, Carrie, and have time for some more
We do.
conversation or questions.
Yeah. Is there any questions before we wrap up the workshop for today? We want to make sure to hold some space for that. Great map and outline of the process, Jennifer, and the ideas there. When you were talking about intuition, that sort of, triggered something for me because I think there's a lot of intuition involved with this adventure kind of map that you're setting out. And I don't think that we trust our intuition enough, because usually, like, I mean, I'm a reader, I'm always picking up other people's books. And what I learned long ago is like, their book is not my roadmap, right? It's just to give me an idea. And really, it's my intuition, like, that I have to lean into. So I'm glad that you highlighted that. I don't know if you even have some tips for helping us to do that better, but yeah, that was something that occurred to me.
Yeah. And I think that when I think of intuition, when you say that, for me, that comes into that's my inner adventurer. That's
Mm.
something inside of me saying, oh, I need more of this, or I don't need any more of that, thanks, but no, that's not contributing to my enjoyment of this adventure. So to me, there's a connection to my adventurer within.
Mhm. I love that. Any other questions as we wrap up today?
Or thoughts even.
Yep. So here's a question. So Jennifer's saying, can you speak a bit more from the beginning on where on from the beginning on where you see a need to do this work and why, or how you pivoted your life to be on the track you are now? Okay, so from in your situation, why did you choose to do this work?
Yeah, so I think I alluded to it. It was a bit of my inner adventurer was saying, you're good at helping people. That's what you like to do. That's why you went into nursing. But as I moved through that journey, what I realized was that my way of helping is maybe something a little different. And I needed to figure out what that was. And so for me, I was, you know, reaching an age where it was like, I'm running out of time to figure that out. So it's getting into that time sensitivity of life. So I chose to pause. I actually engaged in some coaching myself and decided, how am I going to define what it is that brings me joy and how do I do that? And it was through coaching that I discovered those aspects of myself that I talked about at the beginning. And coaching was something it had always been kind of hanging in the background of something of interest. And I thought, now's the time to do it. And so I stepped off my path in leadership and I made an intentional decision to pursue this. And then I really did listen to my intuition to figure out, okay, I'm a coach, but what kind of coach is that? What does that look like? What are the kind of people I want to work with? And that took some time as well. But it was really the idea of I wanted to help people, but I needed to figure out how to do it in a way that resonated with who I am at my core.
Love that. And I remember you saying that really you had gone to your cabin or your cottage and this download came when you were actually in the woods. So I think
Yeah.
that's also very fitting. But we can relate to it. It's very relatable. And also I love that it's you, right? That this is not something you've tried to fit into someone else's business mold, but you're blazing the trail, right? It's in your own way. I love it. Any final questions before we wrap up today? Jennifer, you want to put your contact information on the screen just in case anybody wants to reach out and they have to duck off?
I
Or I
will.
could,
I actually have two questions before I do that. Is that okay? I think we had one
yeah,
more.
sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So,
There is one more question here.
yeah.
How did you identify the need that others would use or need this service? Good question.
What's interesting is when I went to the cottage, as you had mentioned, Carrie, and kind of had that aha moment for myself and started to put things together, it changed how I spoke about my business. And so when I would meet people and they would ask me about my business, it was just so much more natural for me to talk about. And then whenever I would say, you only have one life and it's time limited, make the most of it, automatically people would say, yeah. Yeah. And some people would be like, oh, I wish I had known that a while ago. Or maybe it was, yes, I need that. Or for some, it was, yeah, I also had that aha and it made such a difference. So it really reinforced for me that it's not an uncommon feeling for people. And it's just, where are we in life that you are in a place of readiness to actually do something about it? And what is the services that can support you in that? Um, so I think that was the reaction I was hearing from people and the common feelings that what I had is what other people had. So I figured I'll just tap into what I've already experienced and what worked for me and support people to see, can that work for them, and broaden my learning of how else might I be able to support people who are at this point. Does that answer the question?
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
All right. Okay. So I just have two questions before we finish. One is, the gift is for you to finish this sentence. The gifts that I am grateful to have received from attending this session include this.
I'll just let people answer it and I'll get you the text chat, Jennifer, but they're
Sure.
thinking on it. Do
Yep.
you want to move on to the next one?
Sure. And the last one is a poll. Attending this session was a good use of my time and energy, yes or no? Please be honest in your response. I won't be upset or bothered by any responses to anybody's answer. The reason that I'm asking this is that what you decide to be a worthwhile return on in your investment for your time and energy spent is a very personal thing. For that reason, I will celebrate all of the responses that come through. Because by answering this question, you're bringing to the forefront of your consciousness an awareness of what your precious life resources of time and energy are worth to you. It's a benchmark, so to speak, of what is worth your time and energy on any given day. Right. Well, thank you. And I celebrate you because there was some work that needed to be done in this session. And again, as I had said at the beginning, this isn't about the wisdom of one today. It was the wisdom of the group. And I want to thank everybody for what you brought to the table in your questions, in your comments, in your feedback, because you were really bringing the gifts and the value to the whole group. So thank you for that. I think can you close the poll? I think it's preventing me from advancing my
Oh,
slide.
it's close. Oh, stop sharing. There we go.
There
Sorry
we
about
go.
that.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. So there's my contact information. Yeah. Any other?
Fantastic. Yeah,
Turn it
and I
over to
just want
you,
to
Carrie.
I want to thank you on behalf of the whole group, first of all, for just taking us outside. Even though we were staring at our screens, I feel like we just went for a nice little walk in the woods. And I love the insight. The brilliance of our weekend clients is just endless, and the perspectives, and everyone has a lens. You used that word, Jennifer, before. I think if we all own our lens, and back to what Jennifer's question was, about how do you know that this is needed? I mean, we have to trust our lens, I think. And then what I see you doing is leaning into your zone of genius. Of course, doing some market research, that's always an important part of it. But also, I feel, just really listening to people and listening to yourself. And that has led you to this incredible new venture and adventure. So, on behalf of all of us, thank you so much. If anybody wants to review this, it will be on the Weekend YouTube channel a little bit later this afternoon. And of course, at any time, you can access that through our newsletter. Just reach out to me if you want to be on that newsletter or find out about future events. Such a pleasure to have you with us all today. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.